this. It's used for push-based log native, no write back to DB tables, lower overhead than CDC, AMQP for or Kafka protocol. Then the event-driven AI trigger flow. This is the combination of change tracking plus Azure functions plus SQL trigger binding, the foundation for reactive AI pipeline. We have five stages under this. We have the events, which is a new e-commerce order is inserted into Azure SQL. Then the tracker, which change tracking records that the role changed, synchronized within the transaction. And the binding, which the assume function, which SQL trigger binding calls CT when the fires when new changes appear. Then the brain is the function calls Azure OpenAI using SP invoke external RESTs endpoints to generate embeddings. Then embedding is written back to the SQL vector store using a managed identity. You don't need any credentials in code. So this is a typical example of the query. So the modern database blueprint. So DP-800 is locked down with always encrypted BDMs, RLS, and managed identities. Then it is monitored via query store, DMVs, and plan forcing for regressions. It's also optimized with colon store for analytics, partitioning for archival. It is also deployed securely via dark packs, GitHub Actions, and OIDC, at least for zero stored secrets. And it is wired for AI via change tracking, CDC, CES, or SQL triggering binding. So this DP-800 domain 2, you can learn about prepares you for 35 to 30% of the DP-800 exams. That is the second largest domain by weight. You are not equipped for DP-800 and beyond. So thank you so much, everyone, for having me for this session. Thank you, Philippa.
Fantastic. Yusuf, thank you. We're not done yet. So you started us at 10:45, which we wrap out 11:30. So we've got some time. So let's see if we can do some deeper dives into some of this content. I'm actually going to ask you, just because we ran through a lot, we actually had two versions of this deck. I'm almost curious, just because we have the time, to sort of, because just so everybody knows, if you're making decks, we were having fun playing with Claude and with Notebook LM. Do you want to pop up, or shall I pop up the other deck and see how we can kind of review some of these concepts? Because we have the time, and I want to maximize the time. Is that okay with you?
Okay. Okay. Also.
Do you have it? Do you want to run? Do you want to load it up?
Okay. You can load it up.
Okay. Let me do that now. Give me a second. Yeah, I have fun playing with Notebook LM.
Okay. Also.
I'm trying to figure out what. Now, of course, I'm trying to remember which. Let me go to my Notebook LM and just confirm which of the many slides that we created. There was the. So it's the modern roadmap. Give me 1 second. We'll get that up. Keep doing share screen. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do slides and PDFs. On my computer. And it is the. There it is. All right, it's just loading now. Yeah, because I think you did a great job presenting it, and I like. There's a lot of concepts here that if people are hearing it, I mean, if people are familiar with it, it's like check, check, check. But if you're hearing it for the first time, I think this is actually kind of like taking our different approaches to slide presentations. We can let's see if this loads though, because it is quite. I might have to just do it as a screen share because it's quite a robust thing, and it seems like it is loading, but it might take a second to load. Let me see if I can just pop it up on my screen instead and do a screen share. That might be more efficient. All right, it's a large file. Let's see. All right, yeah, that one's still processing. That might take a minute. Let me see how my. Okay, open. Oh, all right, it came on. There it is. All right, can you just run us through this? I'll change the slides. So we have a
Okay.
minute.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we are going to be also looking at the second part of this presentation on how you can secure, optimize, and deploy your databases.
Hang on one second. I do want to acknowledge, because I've seen it in the chat as well, there is some background noise. It sounds like it's community prayers, and I'm just going to take it that they're praying for all of us. So let us bless the prayers that are happening and to know that there is some background noise.
Oh, I'm very sorry for that.
And AI, we were talking about AI, is not perfect because I'm noticing we have database, BAS versus database. So always remember when you're deploying AI, it is not always perfect. It's our job to give it guardrails and double check it. And it does a lot, but it does not do everything. All right, now I turn it to you.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, in this DP-800, we have 5 stations as introduced earlier. The first station is the data security and compliance, which the second station is diagnostic. That is the performance tuning, and the third station is architecture, which is discusses about your indexing and partitioning of your data. Then the automation part, which is the CI/CD DevOps, and the innovation aspect, which is the change tracking and AI. Next slide. So the lockbox, as discussed earlier, that is your data is always encrypted. You will learn how you can encrypt your data, which means that your DBA is the bank manager. So they can move the box, but they can't see what is inside the box. Only the application holds the key, that is the colon master key. So this blood, there's the blood name tag, which is the dynamic data masking. So that is obscure, it obscures sensitive data in the UI for non-privileged users, not a true security boundary against direct query. Then the velvet rope, which is multi-tenant control, it is transparent to the app, silently filters or blocks rows based on user identity predicates. Next slide. So what does it protect? That is, if you are looking at the always encrypted part of the SQL, the DP-800, that is your data is at rest and in transit. That is ciphertext. We're talking about ciphertext. So what are the things that it stops? Those data that are always encrypted. It stops privileged insiders. That is the DBAs and the cloud admins. So the best use case for this is for your PII, your SSN, your financial data, which is it is a deterministic encryptions. We have deterministic encryptions, which allows exact match joins. Then the dynamic data masking. What does it protect? protects your application query results, and it serves your customer service agents, analysts, that is unauthorized UI viewers, and it is used for obscuring credit card numbers or emails on front-end screens. Then the row level security, it is specific. It protects specific rules in shared tables. It stops tenants seeing other tenants' data. And the best use cases is for software as a service applications with multi-tenant architecture. Next slide. So the golden rule is never commit your password. That is your managed identity. Yes, yes. So system assigned or user assigned. So no password to rotate, the connection strength secrets. So this is the modern default. So does the connecting service support Entra ID natively? No. And if it is yes, why is it no? Your Azure keyboard is store your third-party API keys or legacy system passwords here, and it grants managed identity read access to the vault. So the takeaway from here is that your connection strengths with password in apps config files are a relic of the past. Next slide. Then the flight recorder, which is for query store. So as your data is coming in, your plans, your statistics, so your historical regression detections captures query text, execution, plans, and runtime starts persistently. That is, if your flight recorder can can be used for your historical regression detection, then it forces last build plan to instantly fix sudden performance drops. Then the live reader, the dynamic management views. It has real-time server intelligence. That is your query shows currently executing queries, logs, and active bottlenecks. And it finds exactly who is blocking whom rights. Now, next slide. So if you want to decode your query plan, the architectural red flags. So you start here with read right to left, top to bottom, then to index seek, it is non-clustered, then the key lookup clustered, it's like up to 10 rows. Then the nested loops, that is the inner join, the hash match to aggregate, then select. Next slide. So data layout, that is row versus column store architectures. We have the B3 row stores, the OLTP for OLTP, and the column store index, which is for analytics. So there is fast lookups for individual records, that is the AVIO for analytics. Then the colon store index stores data by colon, batch mode processing rate up to 900 rows at once. So this starts, it can reduce IO by 90% for analytical queries. Next slide.
All right, I'm actually having a question in the chat. Can we go back one slide? So I'm going to honor that. Okay, there's this question to go back one slide. Can you just give us a second on this slide? Just, yeah, run us through the slide real quick, and then I'll jump forward. So hopefully that answers the question.
Okay.
All right, and you'll have access to these slides in the Notebook LM if you want to go through them yourselves. And I'm not sure if I should be able to. I don't know if I can edit the labeling of them, or at least I can let you guys know what's where. All right. So here, okay, is this where we are now? We did this one. Now we're here. Okay, it's all you.
So now we are going to be looking at the table partitioning, which this DP-800 also discussed, that is slicing the monolith. So in this, we have the concept is that it eliminates partitioning. Then the query optimizer skips irrelevant data entirely. Then the benefit you're going to get is that it works on millisecond archiving. Then they switch outdated partitions to archive tables instantly without touching the live data. So we have 4 processes. The first is the SDK style SQL projects. then continuous integrations, which is used in your GitHub Actions, then the dark pack artifacts, and the safe release. All of these treats schema like application code, the version code to control everything in it. Then the automated builds validate the schema, run unit tests, and detect drifts. And the dark pack artifacts compiles into the database application package. That is the deployment, which is the deployment artifact. Then the states-based deployment to that target environment, which promotes safe release. So the identity handshake, the OIDC and workload identity federation. The problem is that storing database passwords in GitHub secrets risk exposure. So the solution for this is that the OIDC, that is the Open ID Connect, and the workload identity federation is being used. The first is the GitHub Actions request a short-lived token from Azure. Then the Azure verifies the GitHub repository and branch identity. Then Azure issues a temporary managed identity token. So the takeaway from here is that there's a zero stored credentials, nothing to rotate, nothing to leak. So we have different things, different aspects of this. We have the change tracking, which is lightweight. We have the change data capture, which is heavy, and the change event streaming, which is event driven. So what the change tracking captures is the primary keys only. So that is, it tells us which row changed, while the change data capture um, captures the full before and after row images from transaction logs, and the change events streaming captures the it pushes real-time JSON or Avro events directly to Azure Event Hubs. The best time for you to use the change tracking is for simple synchronization where the app can query the new states, and the change data capture is best used for full audit trace and complex data pipelines, while the change event streaming is best used for modern reactive architectures. So this event-driven AI trigger flow has four steps. The first step is the event itself. That is the e-commerce product row inserted into the Azure SQL. Then the tracker, then the binding, then the brain. So, and the storage of the output. Next slide. So, native AI in SQL 2025 now. If you want to create external model, you have to register your Azure OpenAI directly in the database. Then if you want to have AI generate embeddings, you have to call the model natively inside a T-SQL query. There's no Azure function middleware required for this. Then if you want to write this query out, that is, your database can securely call any HTTPS REST API directly. So now the database is not an AI agent now. So now the modern database blueprint is that it's locked it's locked down with encryption. Then it's being monitored via code store and optimized with colon store. Then it is deployed securely via dark packs and OIDC, and it is wired for AI via change tracking and native vectors. By this, you are now equipped for the DP-800 and beyond. I wish you safe travels on the road ahead.
Excellent. All right, fantastic. I think that was great. So we have a couple more minutes for questions. I am okay. So we have some questions. So we're going to go to the chat and we can actually pull up those questions on screen. So let's start with this question. Do we know the answer collectively? Do we know the answer to this? Is this .SQL project similar to DPT style?
Okay, they are not similar.
Okay, they're not similar. Okay. All right. Yes, bring your questions if you have them. The other thing I was thinking about, and this is a question I have for everybody here, is I had shared kind of our behind the scenes notebook LM notebook for DP-800, and I'm kind of wondering because I've given you guys only view access to that, but I'm wondering, do you guys want to create? Do you guys want to create your own audio podcast, your own flashcard set, your own things? Because what I can do is I can copy it and create an entirely new one, and you all will have access to giving it prompts and asking it to create stuff for you. So specific things that would help you specifically on your journey, we can create it so that I can give you guys. The only thing I ask is just people delete it, which is why I'm making a copy. I trust, but I don't trust. As my security background is sort of a zero trust architecture. But I actually think it would be fun, and perhaps you could benefit from having something that you can interact with as a notebook LM. So great. I've heard from XR Learn that will be welcome. So I'll share that. Yes, that'd be great. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll create a notebook, guys, that you can interact with. And so let's see. Oh, we are getting some more questions or comments. Here, so this is an answer. Do you want, Liho, do you want to discuss that? Liho, do you want to discuss that?
Okay, what's that?
Oh, I was saying you put a comment in the chat. I was wanting to say, do you want to expand on that?
Okay, which comment is that?
Oh, this was specific for Hona Alo. Let me just show the comment. He's saying an SQL project is conceptually similar to DBT in that both treat database objects as version controlled code, but their fundamental workflows, flows, and purposes are quite different. Is an analyst engineering tool that transforms existing warehouse data via DAGs, while .SQL project is a database administration tool for full schema management and DDL operations. DBT focuses on data transformation. There seems to be a third part of this. For cloud warehouses, whereas .SQL project manages all database objects in Microsoft SQL server environments. For more technical details on both approaches, refer to the documentation on SQL data. Base projects of Microsoft Learn and DBT's overview. And we highly endorse the Microsoft Learn documentation. And when we get to session 5, session 5 is definitely worth sticking around for, because you're going to get, let me mute you for a second. We're going to get some real great insight into exam prep strategies, so you can be really efficient with your preparation. And Ladislao has some great insights for us for that. So Yusuf, you've done a terrific job, and thank you for coming on and on the fly and not walking us from one, but two presentations. But I think they're the same information, but just presented slightly differently. But I think for the first time, sometimes it's helpful to see it sort of from both sides, in very kind of text-based, and then with these sort of visual, dynamic visuals that sometimes can help ground a concept, but sometimes can be a little too much. So it's a little bit of both. That, and then I'm getting good feedback on my idea for an interactive notebook LM that you guys kind of have access to edit, and we're getting thanks for the extra help. We really appreciate it. So definitely invite you. Please feel free to drop a like if these are helpful for you, and that is very much appreciated. And then we are here to. We're about to jump into next session. Next session, we get vouchers. So the forms that you fill out in session 3 are the vouchers I will be delivering for session 5. So that's our plan for that. So I'm going to go ahead and really quickly just drop in our link for the next session as we get ready for session 3. And Yusuf, thank you so much. I'm just so happy to be able to collaborate with you here today. And yeah, we love being Microsoft student ambassadors. We all help each other out. And that is kind of one of the joys of our community that I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Okay, so there's session 3. And I'm going to go ahead and share this in Luma. And then we'll see you all in the next session, in session 3. Yusuf, thanks again. You are obviously welcome to stay and hang out with us going forward, or we will just see you in the next event. Thank you so much.
Bye.